Yeah, that is something that I've thought about, where I need that outward accountability first.
Yeah.
And then I can get the self accountability.
Yeah. And once you get into the groove of it, it's not so bad. It's like, I don't know, brushing your teeth in the morning or something, but it's just initially changing your lifestyle and getting into that routine.
Yeah, trying to get that self motivation in there.
Yeah.
To where that's the whole thing. So I assume that's also a big part of your owning your own business too, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, because you can't call out when you when it's just you to do the work. I think, as like I was saying, I always have to have a project. I have a crazy work ethic, and I can't not be doing something or like accomplishing a goal. I get in like a funk if I am not like moving forward. I don't sit down like on my day off on Sunday. You know, most people will just sit there and watch TV. Like, I cannot sit still, and I cannot.
So no Sunday football for you all day?
I try. I really try. I'm serious. I really do. I like, oh, yeah, you know, just sit here all day, and I'll watch these games, and, you know, I got this six-pack or whatever, and we're going to make this food. And so, like, I'm up, like, making the food. And then I'm like, okay, well, since I'm up making the food, I better put these clothes in the wash, and then I need to replace the sink in this bathroom, so I'm just going to go ahead and start demoing.
So you're just going through everything that you already know that you need to do, and it just spirals out of control.
Well, I just do it. Like, I don't I just like check back in on the game like every so often. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. You know, like it's now halftime, and I've watched literally like 36 seconds of the game, but I've done all this amazing stuff. So that's just how my mind is really.
Have you always been like that?
As far back as I can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the interests and the goals are different. When I was a kid, all I ever wanted to do was be really, really good at the guitar. So I grew up and was interested in guitar and music when the 80s were happening. And, you know, like guys like Eddie Van Halen and Paul Gilbert and Yngwie Malmsteen and stuff. And they were like superhuman on the guitar.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, all right, well, I just have to practice, you know, this thing for like 8 hours, even though it's the same little lick. Like I just have to keep on going, and that's, you know, I'll get to that. So, you know, that was the obsession and the goal then, was to be a really good articulate guitar player. And, you know, while other people were out having fun and you know, doing normal kid stuff, I was at home with my metronome and like scale books and like
just learning as much as you can.
Yeah, really. And so yeah, just different goals and different interests now, I think, really.
So when did it turn into, from, I would say, a hobby and a passion for you to an actual life-changing career?
Well, with the exception of maybe 1 year of my life in my mid-20s, it's been my entire career. I think even back before I had, you know, what would be considered a real legal job. So I started playing guitar at 7, and I was like super into it always. And then I got to a point where, you know, you get bit by the buying gear bug.
Right.
And I think that happened maybe around, let's say, 13 to 14. So I would work these manual labor jobs, like excruciating manual labor. I would get dropped off at a farm that was just like raw land. And it'd be like, okay, you need to clear this area, like, so we can make it into a horse field.
Yeah.
And then you need to build this fence. So I was I think it started in the summer of the 6th grade, and I was out there in the 80-degree heat in July by myself, digging fence post holes and putting up a fence, and all to get money so I could go buy like the latest new DoD distortion pedal or the, you know, Van Halen transcription book or whatever, or you know, whatever, the black Fender Strat with a Floyd Rose tremolo, like whatever it was into then.
How did you find out what to buy? Was it just through the magazines?
Oh yeah, that's all you had then. So I always talk about this because the world is so different now for somebody getting into music. So especially living here, like we live in a pretty rural area, and although we're outside of some big cities, we were kind of, it was slower here, you know?
Right.
So there was a couple things. There was every month you would get your Guitar World magazine, which was huge. I still have every issue from like 1989.
That's crazy.
I have them like archived. Yeah. So you had your Guitar World magazine, and then you had your weekly trips to the music store and your guitar lessons. So although there was all this cool stuff out in the world, you only knew about the little bit of stuff that was in your universe. So it was a big thing. Reading the magazines, I'd always read the interviews in the magazines. Even if I didn't like the artist, I was interested in, like, you know, what they were using. Like, you know, people. I hate the Eagles. I hate them. I don't know why. Like, it's just, to me, it's just like a terrible band. Same thing with Fleetwood Mac. I just don't see the appeal. But I would even read the articles and be like, okay, you know, they're using, to get that crappy guitar tone on this Eagles song, they're using this thing. So I know to stay away from this thing. Right. I don't want to sound like that.
Right.
And then, you know, going in, I think at the time there were 3 music stores here in Southern Maryland. There was Roland Music Company. It was actually one of my first jobs. There was O'Neill's Music, and there was Hot Licks. And I mean, I would go in all of them and like scope out all the different guitars and stuff, and really just, you know, kind of wander around and listen to the real customers that were there, what they were talking about, what they were interested in. So that's kind of how I learned. And a lot of mistakes. Like, I would buy a lot of weird, stupid stuff. And it was like definitely not what I needed.
I was talking to a couple of my other musician friends how shows have changed around a lot, where you go to bigger shows now and you have people that are all digital but are rock bands, so they're all direct into the PA.
Yep.
And then you also have the people that have just stacks and stacks and stacks of amps and cabs, and no one knows what they're playing anymore. So when you look at it, when you don't go to your neighborhood shows, you don't go to your, not the big arena shows, but the actual like national shows where you can see what the gear is. Yeah. I don't think you get that same feel of, this is the person that I want to play as. I need to buy all their gear.
Yeah, totally. It's it's really weird now too, because you can almost erase everything that I thought of when I was a kid that you needed to have. So I thought, and I have literally said this out loud in my younger days, that you are not a real guitar player if you don't at least have a half stack. No, I'm serious. Like, I lived by that. Like, if someone would be like, hey, you want to come over and jam? I'm like, all right, yeah. And then I would get there and they'd have this little like small crate amp or something, or even like like a Fender Deluxe Reverb or something. I'm like, oh man, where's your real amp? Because I just thought that you had to have at least a half stack or you weren't a real guitar player. So nobody has a half stack anymore. I can't even tell you the last time that someone came in and was like, yeah, I really need to buy this Marshall 100-watt tube half stack. Right. It doesn't happen. So I don't know, it's like a weird thing. I recently got a Line 6 Helix, and I did it. I wanted to see whatever, you know, does it really sound like an amp? I mean, am I really going to be able to get these tones that I have spent all this time collecting all these pieces of gear, you know? And sure enough, I mean, I'm not smart enough to be able to use it for all the things that it can do. But I've gotten some awesome tones out of it. And it's just this little thing. Like, it's this little thing, you know? And I don't need all these pedals. I only need one power strip thing to plug into instead of like 17, you know? Yeah. And so the last full band gig that I played was in the summer. And I was like, you know what? I'm really going to test this theory. I'll be amongst friends. So I'm just going to take this Helix, and I'm not even going to take an amp. I'm not going to take a tuner. I'm not going to take a delay pedal.
I'm just going to take
nothing.
that.
I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take two trusty guitars. So I don't know why, but I just felt like I needed to take two guitars, you know? And it was awesome. I mean, it was so awesome. There was no lugging of an amp. I didn't need to make sure that it was mic'd correctly.
Right.
I didn't have to worry about accidentally kicking the DC power thing out of my delay pedal. It was awesome. And at the end of the night, I played. Everything sounded great. I was totally happy with it.
Way better on your back. Better on
I could just.
right?
It literally took 7 minutes maybe to pack everything up and leave.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and it was awesome. And it was really, so I want to learn more about it, and I know that you can do all these other tones and like program different scenes and stuff like that, but because I grew up in the 80s and was a humongous Van Halen fan, I only really need one patch, and that is like a rocking, Van Halen distortion patch where I can turn the delay on and off for my solos and a little bit of reverb, and that's it. But I know that I can do so much more with it.
Yeah, what boggled my mind is I went to 38 North Studios in Falls Church, and they have a whole piece of equipment that you can fully personalize whatever amp that you want in this machine.
Whoa. Oh, is that the Kemper?
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was called, but that's perfect.
Yeah, because you can sample.
It's insane.
Like if I liked, let's say this, I don't know, 1960s hand-wired orange cab, I could bring it, mic it to that thing, right? And then play through it, and then it would understand the frequency response of that particular cabinet and mimic it. That's crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. So, and then they have a music store right next to them that have a whole bunch of old tube amps and all that stuff. So they're profiling all of those.
Oh, wow.
It's insane. It's insane how they're doing that. And I never knew anything like that would ever exist.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I if you saw my basement, it looks like just another room in the music store. Because like I said, I've done this my entire life. So I've collected all these things that like the real amps of the amps that everybody models. So like I have a Fender Deluxe Reverb. I have a PV5150. I have a Vox AC15. I have a JCM 800, a JCM 900, a
Other
Mesa.
people would call that a problem. Or
it's definitely a problem. Like if you look at my house, it's definitely a problem. But so I have all these things, and now it's almost like, well, I don't even need these anymore, because if I knew what I was doing with the Helix, I could totally program it and get all those tones out of it.
It's insane.
I mean, it really is. And it's like, man, it's such, I don't know, because it took me a long time to collect all that stuff and figure out those tones. But now, if you buy this one thing, they're all at your fingertips. So
that's the promise of technology in the future, right?
To be able to be creative and to be able to come up with things to express yourself, like that is the ultimate thing, I mean, it's super cool.
Do you have, now that you've experienced that Line 6, have you thought about how you're embracing technology in your shop too, and the future of that?
We always try to be cutting edge. Music stores, in particular, independently owned music stores, kind of have a bad rap of being, kind of guys that are like older guys that, they didn't quite make it as a rock star, so this is like the next best thing for them, and they're not really like forward thinking, and they're not, they're kind of like afraid of new things, and so we try not to be that store. Like I work really hard at that, so I always am trying different things, and I always want to be kind of on the cutting edge of things. Like we did Skype guitar lessons here way before it was a big thing, and it was just out of like, we had a guitar teacher at the time, and he was a good guitar teacher and people really liked him, but he'd gotten a band job and he was going on tour, and it was kind of like, well, I don't want to give up all my students, and I still enjoy teaching, is there a way that we can figure something out? And at first I'm like, oh, what are we going to figure out? You're moving like, but then we just kind of put more thought into it. And it's okay, well, we could do Skype guitar lessons. So we had a room, and this was probably like, I don't know, 8 years ago or something. And now there's so many online lessons and different things that you could do. But back then it was kind of a really cool thing. So we would try to do stuff like that. We were a big way that people buy gear now is on Reverb.com. We were one of the very first dealers to sign up and get on board with Reverb.com. It's actually, we were probably the biggest dealer early on to get involved, so much so that I got asked to go speak about Reverb.com to hundreds of other music stores at the NAMM show, however many years that was. So we always try to be forward-thinking and try to keep up with the trends and new technology. It's weird a little bit because, and I said that I would never be like this, but I have become like this, is that I've become old, and I don't, I can't like do some things with technology like that Helix. Like my mind just doesn't work like that or something. And I always used to kind of like laugh at like old people fumbling with like the Direct TV remote or something like that. But now I'm that old guy. But I'm really lucky to be surrounded by a lot of really good staff here that's younger and kind of understands this stuff and knows this stuff better. And I always try to like really listen to everybody, and I always try to create a culture of yes. We actually train our people. Like if you came up to somebody and asked them a question here, they're not supposed to say no. Like I hate the word no. I don't want to hear that. Like, don't tell me no, I can't do this, or we can't make this work. Tell me what I can do.
Yeah, there's always a different way to approach it, right?
Yeah. So we try to create that culture. So if someone comes to me with a new technology idea, I try to be on board and understand as best I can and look into it. Obviously, we can't do everything and can't say yes to everything, but try to have an open mind and figure stuff out. And,
how long has the shop been around?
10 years, October 7th. So we just finished celebrating our 10-year anniversary, which was really awesome. It went by pretty quick, and I honestly never thought that far ahead when we started out, really, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and you have your hands in a couple different pots when it comes to the shop. You have the students here, you have the gear, you have all the instruments, and then you also do the recitals and stuff like that, and then the Rocktober Fest too.
Yeah.
So are you thinking more along of what you can do for your community now too?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, so this again goes back to me not being able to sit still. Like some people would just be happy, like, oh, it's a busy store, we sell stuff, whatever, but I'm never satisfied, and I always want to do better and more. And we want to be part of something. Like I don't want to just be a place where people come and buy stuff and you never see them again. Like I want to be part of the musical journey for as many people as I can and make it as positive of an experience as I can through every step of the way. So whether you're buying your first instrument, whether you're learning how to play it, whether you're performing for the first time, and we have, our recitals, we have a stage outside, we have the stage inside. Like we do open mic nights places. I want to give people safe places to play, like good environments, positive environments to play. I want to, if something breaks for them, we fix it here, we have a repair shop. When you're ready to upgrade, we take your old stuff as trades. If you're not playing something anymore, we'll buy it from you. Like there's not many places in the world now that you could walk in and be like, hi, I don't use this banjo anymore. And we would buy it from you, right then and there on the spot. You don't have to do anything. We rent stuff, whether it be a, trumpet, or, hey, you just got a big gig that you weren't expecting and you need a big PA system with 4 subwoofers and, a monitor system. Like we rent that for you. So
So you're a full versatile.
Yeah, but we're trying to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes back to not saying no, and then we want to create like when I first came here to La Plata and Open Island Music. Like I grew up here, and there wasn't a lot going on in the music scene. There just wasn't that. In particular in La Plata, like Waldorf had some stuff going on because it was a bigger city, obviously more rooftops, like more, but there was not that much going on here. I mean, when I was growing up, there wasn't even really any place to see live music in La Plata.
Right.
I mean, just, so we kind of decided that, hey, you know what, if we can help this along a little bit, so we partner with the town and help promote their Friday night concert series. And in the spring and the summer, we do Rocktober Fest, which has become a really, really big thing. Like people talk about it all year, and they wear the T-shirts like all year long. So that's how I know, you know what I mean?
That it's catching on.
It resonates with people. We're always bringing in artists to do clinics or events or something. We're doing open mic nights. We're doing microphone demos. We're doing Taylor wine and guitar tasting things. Anything that you can do to create excitement and keep people interested in music. Like that's my job. It's not just to like sell this guy this guitar.
Right.
My job is to keep people interested in music. And because if nobody's interested in music and they're playing video games or fooling around on their phone or something, then it all dies. Like there's no live performances.
Yeah.
There's no people running sound. There's no gear being sold. There's no lessons being taken. There's nothing being repaired. Like my job is to keep as many people interested in music as possible.
Yeah, and I've talked about this on some of my other prior episodes where I was doing concerts 10 years ago.
Okay.
I did a lot of them in St. Mary's and did a couple of them in Waldorf at my brother's place in Memories.
Okay.
So I was booking the shows, putting everything together, trying to find the bands that are around here.
That's such hard work. Yeah. You deserve like a Purple Heart.
Thank you. I appreciate that because it's something that if you're not passionate about it, it's not going to work out, and you're not in it for the money because there's no money to be made.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just nothing happening. But my whole mentality was your mentality, where I want to be able to bring people together and have that safe space, have those people come together. But what I noticed, so I stopped pretty much doing shows about 8 years ago. 7 years ago was probably the last one that I did. And that was mostly just because I have a job that I needed to focus on. And
life gets in the way.
Yeah, life gets in the way. Life finds a way. Yeah. So what I was noticing is that it's finally starting to pick back up a little bit more in this area in Southern Maryland as a whole. And one of the things that I saw, so I went to 5 South down in Callaway.
Yeah, I keep hearing about that place.
Yeah, it's great. But I went there either January of this year or maybe late last year. And what I saw is that it's the same core group of people playing music again, which is fantastic.
Yeah, totally.
But there's no new people.
Yeah.
And that's where we've fallen off, I think, as a whole area, where there's no places for people younger to really play.
Yeah.
And that's something where as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, that stinks. And I don't know really kind of what to do, but it sounds like you're at least providing some experience for that.
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly trying. I don't know that I have all the answers for that. I wish that I did, but I think that one of the big things that we really need is more venues, more places to play. I mean, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Like, I want to get back to doing an acoustic gig every so often, but I don't want to travel far. I have a family. I work probably 12 hours a day. I can't drive to St. Mary's or Calvert or something. Like, I just need something close to play. I don't even really want to make any money at it. I just want like a close venue that does acoustic music that you could go play a 7 to 10 gig or 7 to 11 gig or something like that. And right now we really don't have much in La Plata. So Casey Jones, what was sold was last year, and the new place they're not interested in doing live music. Red Oak Bistro was a really great place for live music. I played there a lot, and they're gone. Cow Tai is a good place for live music, but because it's the only place, they're booked out so far in advance.
Right.
I mean, they're literally, I think I talked to the guy Fred, and he told me that they're booked till like January.
Jeez.
But I mean, that's the only place, really, especially in the winter. You know, so we need more venues. We need more restaurants to kind of get interested in having live music. It definitely, I know there's probably more work behind it, and in some ways, it probably gets in the way of business. But it would be awesome to have. So that's one thing. I think we're seeing a kind of a trend in younger musicians and guitar players as to where they're more at home players, or kind of behind the iPhone players than they are like let's get out in public and play kind of thing. So I think we have that kind of to deal with too, but I don't know, plug away a little bit, a little bit as you can,
at a time,
if you can convert people to getting out and playing, even if it's on one of our stages, or they kind of get their feet wet at Rocktoberfest or something, anything we can do.
Where did the idea of Rocktoberfest come from?
I've actually used the term Rocktoberfest. So we opened in October of 2008, and I've used that term every October to describe some kind of sale or event or something. So I've been coining that phrase for a while, and so this is our 5th anniversary of Rocktoberfest this year. At some point in time, because I'm always trying to promote music and get people interested and stuff, I try to work with the school systems a lot. And at one point in time, somebody from the school system said something to me like, well, that would be great. We'd love to do that, but we don't have any money. And I said, what do you mean? You're the school system. How can you not have any money for, whatever it was,
right.
A clarinet or a recorder or something, something silly. And like, well, unfortunately, not a lot of money goes into
music and the arts.
Yeah. So instantly, I thought, well, how can we change that? Like, what can we do to make that different? And so we came up with Rocktoberfest, and I got a couple other businesses on board early on to kind of be sponsors and help underwrite it. And the very first Rocktoberfest was just in the bar of Casey Jones. It was a small thing, and I got Paul Reed Smith to give us a guitar to raffle off, and I think Magic Hat Beer gave us a vintage-looking bike to raffle off.
That's cool.
And Casey Jones partnered with me and allowed me to throw this crazy party in there. We had 3 bands then. I think it was much different. And it turned out to be a nice, fun night, and everybody that came really enjoyed themselves. And we raised $3,500 that night between the raffle tickets, and I think we had something worked out where if you bought a drink for $10, you got a free commemorative Rocktoberfest glass and stuff like that. So we raised a little bit of money there, and I just thought it was a one-time thing, and I never imagined that it would be, this thing that people look forward to. And some people kept talking about it. I was like, oh, when are you going to do the next one? When you're going to have one next year? Who's going to play next year? Can I play next year?
Yeah, for you, it was just a flash in the pan idea, right?
Yeah, I just thought it's just some fun thing to do, in October. And we literally put the first one together in a month. So now, fast forward 5 years, it literally takes an entire year to plan and execute Rocktoberfest. I mean, we shut down a street now. There's 16 bands. One is always a national act, like a headlining national act.
Right.
We now I get a 1-day alcohol permit, so we can sell the alcohol.
Gosh,
so we can raise more money. So instead of paying or partnering with a bar or restaurant or something where they're profiting off of this, now I get a 1-day alcohol permit, and all the money that we raise selling alcohol goes towards the cause of it. So there is no middleman making money
That's
off of it.
fantastic.
So when you
Yeah,
buy
yeah.
a beer at Rocktoberfest, all that money, whatever it is, $5, is all going to the school system.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's
Nice.
but it takes so long to plan.
Yeah.
And so I think this past year we had 5,000 people come through, which is a lot of people to worry about and a lot of people to like make sure they're safe and everything is yeah, I mean, it's tight security, there's no problems. Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's getting too drunk or any, something like that. And I mean, it takes 12 police officers. So it's a lot to...
Which isn't cheap.
No, it's a lot to deal with. But it's such an awesome day. It's my absolute favorite day of the year because, I mean, really, that is what it's all about. When you see the bands out there playing, especially a band playing for the first time, and this is where they're playing. They're opening, like this year, they're opening for Sponge, and it's their first time playing in front of people. That's awesome,
Right.
And just to see the students coming in, because a lot of times all of our lesson students go because they've been, seeing the flyers and everything, and they know it benefits their school system. To see that's awesome. To see all the people out on Main Street, shopping at the other businesses and eating at the other restaurants and stuff is so awesome. And when it's all said and done at the end of the day, it's a lot of work, but I mean, it's so worth it. It is so worth it. So it's really grown and it's really changed, and it's going to be even bigger and better this year. So
That's great. Yeah. Do you have a clear vision of what you want to do for your store itself and what you're looking for in the future 5-10 years from now? Because you're one of the few ones that have been able to stay successful, I think, through innovation, where shops like Hot Licks have gone away and there's so much online shopping that you've actually, looks like you've grown, right?
Yeah. I mean, we try to, so I can't tell you what it's going to be like in 10 years or 5 years because I don't know how things are going to change
Right.
and how things are going to be different. I think that's where you get yourself in trouble is if you map out this plan and, we're going to do this within the next 5 years. Well, the world doesn't follow along with your plan. So you almost have to constantly be steering and moving the ship as the world changes. So, we know online shopping's not going to go away. Like people aren't en masse just going to set down their cell phones and their iPads and their computers and start walking out to stores. So we almost have to think of ourselves as two different businesses. We are the people that come through the front door and to seek out the experience of coming in here, and we try to make it an experience. Like I don't want it to just be like you walk into some boring store. Like it's an experience coming in here.
Right.
Some people drive on the weekends from Pennsylvania just to come and look at what we have to offer because we might, we have every Rickenbacker guitar in
Right.
stock. Most other local music stores, you don't see that. Like they can't put their hands on that kind of stuff, and we have these cool events and we do, all these unique things. So through the front door people are, still coming here. They are interested in the experience. They want to be part of something. But then there's a whole separate version of folks that are online customers that, they don't want to interact quite as much or be, part of what we're doing, but they want to, they're interested in a product that we have and they're interested in how we present ourselves. And so we are, constantly trying to walk the line of keeping both of those kind of customers happy. Mm-hmm. And, it's almost two separate businesses kind of thing. We're kind of our next big thing is we're looking at a way to warehouse more products. So we're able to provide more products, brand new in a box, unique things that are shipped right to the customer's house kind of thing. But you need more space to do that.
Yeah.
You need more folks to photograph them, to weigh them, to, list them online. So we're trying to expand that. We've expanded our lesson program quite a bit. We're going to probably get into more group lessons and group classes as time goes on, jazz ensembles, stuff like that. So we're going to try to do different, unique things.
And then really try and bridge the gap between like the school system and then what you're doing, right?
Yeah, and we have a big portable stage, what we use for Rocktoberfest. It's a nice stage, like it costs a lot of money. And, so we want to get more into the backline thing, so if you were promoting shows again and doing that kind of stuff and you needed a stage and you needed a full PA system and lights, we want to be more involved in that. We do a lot of, pro audio install work. We just did a large sound system for the county government building. So when they swore in all the new commissioners, that was all our stuff, and that was a 6-month project that finally came to fruition, and was really a big thing for the county.
So you've been able to be very flexible and pliable to fit whatever need is out there. Then.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
and not just the music shop.
No, definitely not. I mean, I spend a lot of my time, out looking at different sites for sound systems. I've been really lucky in my life to work along with some really good people in the industry, and I've also any chance that I've been offered to learn, I take that chance. So I've been to Mississippi, to PV's headquarters 3 different times to train with their, they have a real good grasp on pro audio and install products, and they own a couple different big pro audio companies, Media Matrix and Crest, and of course PV, and so I've been there to study quite a few times. I've been to Electro Voice to study. I'm always trying to learn and apply these things to what we can do here. So.
And not be such the crotchety old man that you...
Yeah, no, I don't want to be that guy, yeah. Even if I don't understand technology, I still don't want to be that guy. We hope to grow that kind of stuff, but as far as a long-term plan, I just can't tell you really, because we try to roll with the punches and change, as the landscape does. I wish it was that easy where I could just be like, okay, in 3 years we're going to be done with this, and then we're going to be done with this, and yeah,
at least you have that pliability. I think that's such a big part where you're not afraid of the future. You're not afraid of the technology. You're not really while other people you see like the box stores are closing down kind of around you because they're a little afraid to embrace it.
Yeah,
totally. You're more than welcome to learn everything that you can.
We'll figure it out, I mean, so at the end of the day, the secret weapon is that. I'm really a customer. Like, I love this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like the guy that, the crotchety guy behind the counter or whatever that didn't make it as a rock star. Like, I've always wanted to do this.
Right.
And I'm a customer. I still love guitars. I love, practicing guitar. I love playing guitar. I love getting new gear. So I always kind of use that as a guide. Like, maybe that's not... the best way always to look at things, but at the end of the day, I'm another guy. Like, I'm another customer.
And then for you just surround yourself with good people, right?
Oh, totally, yeah. I mean, that's that's a real big part of it. A lot of our folks have been here a really long time, and they're kind of like family, part of the team. And, we bring on new folks as we, find talent. I always say I'm in talent acquisition mode, when we're looking to fill spots. If we think someone has talent and they'd be a good fit to our team, we make a space for them, kind of. And that's a big thing too, because I can't keep up on everything anymore and know everything anymore. You really need kind of extensions and people with different personalities and stuff.
I think it's just important to know that too. It just shows a level of maturity that you can translate to your family and translate to your career, translate to your band, just knowing that you can't do everything all the time.
Oh, totally, yeah. It takes, so I still struggle with that.
Yeah.
Like I still do. Like so I'm 37 years old, and I can't, even though I feel like I'm pretty physically fit and try to take care of myself, can't do everything that I used to do anymore. And, I also need to take care of myself better and kind of be more cautious with the things that I do, because if something happens to me, that's bad for the store, and then that trickles down to everybody else. So I shouldn't be the guy like climbing up on the roof, like fixing the air conditioners. Like there's people that,
right, you can make the phone calls.
Job. But my mentality is, as always, like, I could do that, or I'm going to do that, so I get myself in a lot of like really weird situations where, maybe I shouldn't be. I should call in, get, help or something. But, whatever.
What do you think has kept you most motivated throughout your shop and your career to continue to be able to do this while balancing out, all the obligations that you have in the other parts of your life?
It's really exciting for me to see new people walk through the door every day, and for them to kind of walk through the front door and say, wow, or when they come up to you. And it's a lot of times now, people don't know who I am. They just think I'm just some guy that's here. So it's really kind of awesome. Every once in a while, somebody will pull me aside and they'll say, well, hey, I didn't realize that you were the owner here. I just thought you were just some nice guy that talks to me about guitars or whatever. And, I've been coming here for X amount of time and I got into guitar because, blah, 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 blah. And, I just want to thank you for getting me into this and for making this such a really pleasant thing for me. I mean, some people, although I think this is my career, to some people this is their hobby. This is what they do to escape other things in their life. And to hear that is awesome to me, because we're giving them something that, they're not thinking about their phone bill. They're not thinking about cutting the grass. They're not thinking about, whatever problems that they have in life. They're enjoying music. And so that's a humongous thing that drives me. And then another thing that really drives me is that my family works here. My wife started this business with me. She's at the front desk today. We have a 7-year-old daughter, and her mission in life is to be me here at the store. Like she wants to be involved and is interested in it. And, to me, that's awesome. So I want to make sure that, we do the best job that we can. And because she's watching, you know, and so that's a big thing for me too.
So what do you have coming up as far as some of the events and specials that you have for the...
Okay. So we have, let's see, tomorrow is a really special day for us. I know this probably won't air by then, but I'll tell you about it anyhow because we're really proud of it. So every year we have a large holiday recital where basically all of our students perform in front of their parents and grandparents and friends and whatever. And it's a really exciting time because these kids have been working all year on this, and it's a big thing for them. So tomorrow we have our annual holiday recital, which is a big thing. I think we have about 250 students that perform in it. So it's kind of a cool.
And that's going to be here?
Day. Yep, it's all day. So when we get done with this podcast,
where do you put them?
All this stuff gets cleared out. So it's completely open, and
it's just Jake doing it.
It's just Jake by himself, yeah. And we actually, to make it more interesting, we tie one of his hands behind his back, just to see. And sometimes we even put on a blindfold. But I think this time we're not going to do that. But so we have groups. So they'll do like an hour group, like 10 to 11, and there'll be a break, and then another group will come in. It goes like all day long, and it's a really awesome thing, and it really is a great way to kick off the holidays for us.
Yeah.
So then, after that, it's pretty busy in here all the way up until Christmas Eve. So we are stocked to the gills right now. And we basically have anything anybody could want musically for Christmas. We have, specials on acoustic guitars, electric guitars. We have limited edition guitars. We have, guitars that we have waited to unveil for the holiday season. We had a new line of PRS acoustic guitars that we didn't even launch. We've had them sitting in the back
in the
warehouse, but we didn't even launch them until the Black Friday weekend. So we have all these cool limited things. I think we have special financing going on. Basically, anything qualifies for financing right now, so you can get no interest financing on just about anything. Everybody gets a free lesson with anything that they buy. Any fretted or stringed instrument gets a free setup with anything that they buy. We have all kinds of stuff going
Fantastic.
on. Yeah.
And then you do, you mentioned it earlier, but you do like the clinics and stuff. So you'll have Bill Killier?
I struggle with saying his last name too. I always say Killer.
Right?
Yep. So he'll be here next Wednesday, which is really awesome. So we're going to film an interview podcast with him. And then after that, he's going to do a guitar clinic, kind of instructional workshop kind of thing. And so that's really cool and exciting. We have on the last Saturday of the month, we have our Ukulele Jam. So just after Christmas, that Saturday, we have a ukulele group that meets here. And anybody is welcome to come, whether you play or are interested in playing. Just want to listen. So there's normally about 15 to 20 of them. Everybody kind of jams along on different songs and stuff. They teach you. It's really a cool thing. Yeah. So let's see, what else do we have? Christmas Eve is always kind of a festive day here. So if you're into music, a lot of times we'll have food brought in. It's, everybody's kind of running around like crazy, and it's just like a fun day. So we have a lot to look forward to over the rest of the month.
One of the things I forgot to ask is how do you contact all those people that do come in for those clinics, like Bill from Mastodon? I mean, that's big for me. Just because I've listened to Mastodon for years and years and years, and all that style of music I absolutely love. So having someone literally come to my backyard is amazing. So how did that work? How does that work for you?
So a lot of times what I try to do is I watch the schedules of the local venues, like the 930 Club or like anywhere DC, Baltimore, Rams Head, stuff like that. And if I recognize a name or an artist, I reach out to the company, like ESP, for instance, that they might endorse.
Oh, okay.
And I say, hey, look, this guy is coming to our area. And then I always bribe them. I realize that that's the best way. So I say, like, well, so this guy is coming to our area. What if I bought all these guitars? Would you then make him come here and like basically do whatever, And a lot of times they're like, Keith, if you knew how much that guy costs like per minute and you told him you were going to buy 6 of his guitars, he would like laugh at you. But, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And so then, because we've done this for a while, we've had some really good events and some really big artists here. And they always turn out really nice. It's like, we had Billy Sheehan, who to me was humongous, with David Lee Roth and Mr. Big. We had Greg Bissonette. We've had Michelangelo Badio. We've had George Lynch. We've had the drummer from Adele. We've had all these people. Right. So we do a really good job with it. And so then we got this reputation of like, hey, you know what? Like, if this guy's coming to DC, Island Music will buy all this weird stuff if we just take this guy here and let him play in front of people. And so then now people come to us and like, hey, so-and-so is coming. And because I hit that corner and I turned old, a lot of times, like Bill from Mastodon, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I heard the name and I recognized the name a little bit because we saw the guitar. But if he was like in line in front of me at Starbucks, I wouldn't know, you know? Or if he's like, hi, I'm from Mastodon, I would sounds like a dinosaur to me or something. Like, I don't know. So now people come to us, and so that's what happened.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Because for me, you talk about how old you are. You're not that old.
Well, however old that I am, if you add like 20 years to it, like that's how old that I like mentally. Yeah, it's always been that way. Yeah.
But that's cool because I think if you get kind of that mentality of, again, we talked through this the whole episode, is if you're not afraid to embrace what is going on now, then you can even grow even more to where you can do everything that you want to bring in here. George Lynch is fantastic. That's who you want. Bill Sheehan, that's who you want.
Yeah.
And then just be conscious of
what everybody else wants.
That's a way to juggle it, and then make sure that you're satisfied, right? And then also be able to satisfy everybody else, right?
And it goes back to, like, although I don't know any Mastodon music, I bet you that when it's all over, I will have learned or picked up something from him, whether it be a guitar technique, whether it be like a philosophy of touring, or, you know, how he juggles his schedule, like something.
Yeah.
So to me, there's no downside
Right.
to it. I mean, sure, it's like a long day, a little bit more work, but there's no downside.
Yeah.
You just learn. It's just it's a day. And I always say, like, this is so much better. Like, I could be doing some hardcore manual labor job like when I was a kid, or I could be like sitting at a desk like accounting or something like
Just
that,
staring at a screen for nothing.
But instead, like, I'm talking to this rock star guy and I'm watching his guitar technique up close, you know?
Yeah.
And so you can always learn. It could, you know, I mean, it's awesome. Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right, that's a good way to end it. Good job. That was great.